So nursing is my second career. As my first career, I was a Spanish teacher. I loved the language, loved to read, write, and teach kids. But I found I wasn't being satisfied emotionally, and it was kind of funny. Every time I would have a baby, I would realize that I loved healthcare and that I thought that that's what I wanted to do. So my husband encouraged me to go to nursing school. While I loved all the bells and the whistles, I found myself really drawn to that end-of-life experience. So I remember the very first time that I ever had a death, and the patient unfortunately was brought to the intensive care unit after his advance directives were not honored. So I had the unfortunate task of calling his family members to say that he was on the unit and that he had been intubated. He had coded in the middle of the night. They had performed CPR on him, and he was alive and on a ventilator in the intensive care unit. They were there within an hour, hour and a half, and after quite a bit of talking to them and talking about what had happened and what could happen with him, we wound up extubating him based on their knowledge of what his end-of-life choices were. He was an intensive care patient, so I had him on the monitors. I wasn't a hospice nurse then. I didn't know what I know now, so I left him on the monitors, and hindsight tells me I probably shouldn't have done that, but nonetheless I did, and we watched those monitors. I watched them along with the family, to see what was happening, and as his heart rate would decrease and his respirations would decrease, I would explain to the family, this is what's happening, because he was extubated and continued to breathe on his own. Eventually, I went over to him and I placed my hand on his chest, and I kind of said a silent prayer to myself at the time. I was just, okay, I need to be able to say the right thing to this family to give them comfort. And so when I placed my hand on his chest, he flatlined. He took a deep breath, and then the monitor just flatlined. So I thought, wow, I know I didn't do that. I know I didn't do that, but I was there, and I was able to give the family comfort. And so after I left his room and I started doing the charting that nurses do, I started thinking about our own mortality and how we're all going down this journey one day. That as soon as we take our first breath as a newborn baby, we all start down that path of the end of life. I've been asked a lot of times why I do what I do, how can you do it? And my question is, how can you not? So that's my story. For those folks who are drawn to feeling as if they are holding a patient's hand or holding a family member's hand as they are journeying through this difficult time that we all will face one day, if they find themselves doing that, then maybe one day hospice nursing could be in their future.